Hello everybody, here we are today talking about why the Edmonton Oilers should probably be concerned after going down 2-0 in the Stanley Cup Final. But before we start with it, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So, the first two games of the Stanley Cup Final have been played, and last night was the second game where the home team was able to pick up another victory. The Florida Panthers are in great shape as they were up 2-0, and the Edmonton Oilers are now 2 losses away from their season coming to an end. And I know that it seems pretty obvious why they should be concerned because, well, it is kind of obvious. They are down 2-0, and out of the 54 teams in the Stanley Cup Final that have gone down 2-0 in a series, only 5 of them have been able to come back and win it, which is actually higher than I thought. That's about 10% of teams. And when you're looking at this, you know it's not painting a pretty picture. But what exactly is going wrong for this team besides, oh, well, we're just down 2-0? Well, the first thing is they're not scoring goals, as through the first 18 games or the first 3 rounds, if you want to phrase it that way, the Stars had 2 games where they scored 1 goal or less. In fact, they were both games where they scored 1 goal. In the past 2 games of the Stanley Cup Final, they have scored 1 goal in Game 2, and in the first game were shut out. So that is a bit of an issue. Also on top of that, you have Leon Draisaitl, you have Zach Hyman, and Connor McDavid combining for 0 goals on 19 shots. Interesting here, though, because McDavid hasn't really been a big-time goal scorer during the playoffs this postseason, but he does lead the shots out of the trio with 9, and that is a little bit weird. As for Zach Hyman, he has not really been able to get a lot of interior slot shot opportunities, but in that time, if he has, it has been a missed shot and then a shot that's been blocked. There's been one that he's made down low, but still, looking at this, when you're seeing 3 players that have scored a lot of goals, specifically Hyman and Draisaitl that we talked about in the series preview, you can see why this team would be concerned, because if their stars aren't producing, that's going to be kind of an issue. And looking at their power play, there's been a little bit of concern here, not really in Game 1, but in Game 2. They had over 7.5 minutes, or right around 7.5 minutes on the man advantage, and had just 1 shot in that time. 0 for 7 on the series, again, kind of contributes to why the offense hasn't been scoring, but also looking at this, why should they be concerned? Sergei Bobrovsky's having a really good series, as out of the 51 shots faced in the 2 games, he has allowed 1 goal. So, 980 save percentage, and has been on a bit of a tear. Bob has been building this playoff legacy, or whatever you want to call it, brick by brick over the years, over the past 3 seasons, if you will, and things have been going really well for him in Florida in that time. Clearly, President's Trophy winner, 2-time Stanley Cup finalist team, and are now in a spot where they could be able to be the first-time champion for their franchise. And Sergei Bobrovsky right now, Edmonton's going to have to watch some film and figure out how exactly to get him off his game. I know Game 2 wasn't necessarily a high-shot affair, but looking at Game 1, he really was able to step up and be a big reason why this team won. Multiple breakaway opportunities for the Oilers to be able to score, and they didn't. The last thing you want right now is for Bob to maintain being hot. So yeah, they're going to have to figure out exactly what to do with him. And it's not just him. Again, there's multiple reasons why you're able to spend that long of a time on the power play and only get 1 shot. But at the same time as well, if he's only giving up 1 goal despite only facing like 19 shots, that's going to pose a problem to you. Now, on the flip side, you have Stuart Skinner, and Stuart has not had a series where he's allowed a lot of goals. In fact, in the first game, he ended up, I believe, just giving up 2, and then in the third game, he allowed 3. That is not a problem. Problem is, though, they're not facing a lot of shots, especially in the first game. They were able to have a much better offensive game than the Panthers were, despite getting shut out. But with Stuart Skinner, you never want to say that a goalie is the reason that you lose, especially if they're not giving up a ton of goals. But in this series, you're probably going to need Stuart to be able to allow just 1 goal or less in a game, because there may be games where he's not facing a lot of shots, but at this point, you can't necessarily rely on the offense to click. And with the way things are going now, down 2-0, they're going to need somebody to be able to say, I'm going to be the playoff hero. Maybe this is one of those situations in Game 3 where Stuart has a shutout and gets a team back on the right track. And then talking about some other stuff to close out this video, yeah, of course, the PK has been able to not allow a ton of goals, and the power play, of course, has been kind of an issue as well, but it's not a big differential where Florida has scored like 4 power play goals in the first 2 games, and Edmonton scored 0. It's 1-0 in terms of this, but looking at things like even strength, the Panthers have outscored Edmonton 6-1, mind you. Of course, they did get an empty net goal in Game 2, but also in terms of 5-on-5 play, they've outscored them 4-0. I think my bigger concern is we could see, again, kind of like we talked about in the series preview, I believe, the PK continue to do relatively well, but the Panthers win at 5-on-5, and the chances haven't really been skewed heavily in Florida's favor for the series. Now, one game was better than the other, but if the Panthers are able to score those 5-on-5 goals, whereas Edmonton isn't, you have the PK maybe still be good for Edmonton. But again, they're not scoring goals, and with them getting power play opportunities and failing to score continually, you could see the series again shift towards Florida, as they are feeling probably really good right now and feeling really aggressive. And I don't really know how you keep the team motivated if they are still playing kind of stingy at points in the series and not allowing a lot of chances. Now, you want to get back to game one where things looked really good for the team. I know they got shut out, but again, the expected goals percentage and all that was all in their favor, and they did have some really good looks, and you want to be able to see these stars start to produce. It is concerning, and again, I'm going to be honest right away, the odds aren't necessarily in Edmonton's favor, as they would have to win 4 of the next 5 games, but they've got to this point in the playoffs, you might as well just say, we got to get our bootstraps and then pull them up all the way and get the job done. Meanwhile, for Florida, they know that game 3, if they go 3-0, they can be as aggressive as they want. They're probably going to be relatively aggressive in game 3 as well. It's been a heated series so far. Of course, there's been some calls that, didn't get called and things like that. But yeah, it's a Stanley Cup Final. Things like that are going to happen. It's very passionate. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the Edmonton Oilers right now as they are down 2-0? And what do you think is going to have to change in terms of them, getting to where they win the Stanley Cup? Of course, scoring goals is going to be one of that. But are you seeing some line combinations you'd like to see more? Are you seeing maybe a goalie change? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And you go off hockey, all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.